Hello and welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech gives their clients an edge over their competition with web and logo design that make them stand out. They increase brand awareness and generate leads with SEO and social media presence, and then convert those leads into clients with content creation and email marketing. If you will go to oakcitytech.com, send them a note, tell them what you're looking for. They will get back with you and tell Drago we said hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning, and each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a small business success story. Triangle, if you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area. Each week, 33 chapters get together, almost 600 members, and all we do is help each other grow our business. And our small business success story this week is Wes Harper, president of Lightwire, Inc. Wes, glad to have you.
Thanks very much. Glad
President, was that given or earned from day one?
Oh, that was earned.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a lot of work to get there.
21 years?
Yeah, right at 21 years.
All right. You and Bob, good story of how you two literally first met?
Yeah, we both had started our own individual companies in 1996.
Okay.
And so we had muddled around independently for 3 years and then actually met in a server closet. Well, he was fixing computers and I was installing a phone system. And we told a couple jokes.
Yeah.
Decided to go out for a cup of coffee. And we immediately liked each other. And we figured the crossover business would be incredible.
Interesting. Do you still have the client?
We actually do.
Nice.
We have that exact
Do they
client
know
to
that's
this
how
day.
you two met?
I don't think so.
The closet. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to add that to the list, to the aerial. Yeah.
21 years, same client.
Normally, when a guest is on the show, and we'll get to this, I ask how they met their spouse, but you kind of got two. You got a work spouse and a life spouse, right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
So you and Bob, was it clear early on each other's strengths and who's going to do what?
No, I mean, we knew each other's strengths.
Yeah.
As far as in business and technology, what each other was good at, but we didn't really have a business strategy at that point. You know, we didn't know who was going to be a better manager or hire, all the little stuff that you have to do for business to be a business person. We figured that out along the way.
Was one of you more sales oriented?
We're both pretty salesy.
Yeah.
And so really we took turns for a while.
Okay.
In fact, we'd say, well, do you want to be president this year? And he'd say, no. I said, well, I really don't either. So we alternated really for probably 10 years. We just took turns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Then one day I said, you know what? I really want to take this thing bull by the horns and run with it.
Right.
And he said, that's fine by me, buddy. Have at.
Who did and who does break the tie? Or how do you?
We have it set up so that whoever is the current president is also the tiebreaker.
Okay.
So we're 50-50 partners, and we don't butt heads very often at all. But when we do, somebody has to be the one that has the trump card.
Right.
And so right now, that's me.
All right. So Lightwire, well, let me back up. Wes is part of RD48. They meet Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. at the Fox and the Hound in North Hills. If you're ever that way, if you're a morning person, if you got Wednesdays open, they have a couple people in their group that are quite entertaining. We've had Sherry Green on here. We've had Micah Park on here. So you will be entertaining that group, especially with these three. That much I can promise you. Lightwire is commercial technology, computer, wiring. You do all that stuff, right?
Yeah, full IT services.
All right, IT service, because you never know these days how you do it. Now, the other thing about Wes that we're going to get to is if you've ever seen the reality show Naked and Afraid, or as we call it in the South here, Naked and Afraid, he was on that show, and we're going to talk about that because that episode, the 2 episodes, he was there with his partner Jesse, all right. We're going to get to that in a minute, but I wanted to talk a little bit about commercial IT.
Mm-hmm.
Your world changes every 8-9 seconds. There's a new this coming out, new that coming out. We were laughing about who's less gifted between the two of us. And I'm trying to learn how to use Snapchat. And it's supposed to be really easy.
Yeah.
And your new chore was to learn WhatsApp.
Yeah. WhatsApp. That's today's agenda is to go ahead and download WhatsApp and start making some phone
And you're
calls.
supposed to do what with that? With who?
Well, there's a chance I have a upcoming adventure, and so
Oh,
that's
okay.
the
All
that's the
right.
platform for calling around when you have an adventure.
Oh, really? I did not know that. WhatsApp. I've heard of that. I know I don't use it.
Hmm.
Is that like a group messaging
I
thing?
have no
There
idea.
you go. You'll learn more today or tomorrow.
Today is the day. Yeah, absolutely. But by the end of today, I will have that down.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
We'll wait for the report on how it went if
Right.
it works. So
And
for the people watching that own a business and they
Mhm.
have a brick and mortar business,
Mhm.
what's a couple of do's for them with regard to IT?
There's more don'ts than I think do's,
That's
really.
why I started with the
Like,
do's.
don't try to do it yourself. I mean, it's getting more complicated every single day.
And you and I've mentioned this before we came on the air, but I've had this conversation with people not only on this show, but off the show and within BNI. Most of us have our Uncle Billy. And Uncle Billy by trade is a landscaper,
Right.
but Uncle Billy also does their taxes and he wires their computers.
Yes.
And nothing says disaster more than calling in Uncle Billy because they're eventually going to call you.
Yeah, we call it the cousin-in-law syndrome
Oh,
because
geez.
everybody has a cousin-in-law who
Yeah.
knows computers.
Yeah.
And he can come over on Saturday afternoons to fix the problem that you've had since Monday.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, we try to get people to steer away from that because it's
You
just
got
you can't be productive
it. No.
if you can't work.
The thing though with a business is if this happens 11 o'clock on a Monday,
Mm-hmm.
there might not be a Wednesday.
Right.
How are you going to take your money? How are you going to schedule? So there's an immediacy.
Can you imagine
sometimes
if
in
your QuickBooks was down
Oh,
or your
gosh.
payroll is down
Yeah.
and you have to wait till Saturday or Sunday to get
Yeah.
some help on that? I mean,
None. Yeah.
your employees aren't going to put up with that. That's for sure.
What have you seen in the growth of the IT world that just kind of technology-wise just kind of blows your mind from when you two started?
Security.
Okay.
100% security. Everything. There are so many bad people out there right now.
There are.
Just bad guys everywhere. And it could be, you hear about international terrorists, but you also hear about some bored high school kid who's just wreaking havoc because he wants to.
Yeah.
He's just seeing if he can do it.
And we've had conversations on, and I've had a friend of mine who is an accountant. This is probably 5 years ago that he got one of those, hey, we've kind of taken over your system.
Yeah.
And they only wanted, I think it's $500.
Yeah.
And you have till 4 o'clock and it costs you $500 if you want it back. Man, if you can't get access to your stuff like that, that's a big problem, isn't it?
It's a huge problem. It is a huge problem. And you may say $500, all right, that's not worth, it's like insurance. I'll keep $500 in case I get ransomware. That's
Mhm.
what it's called. But more often than not, it's not $500.
No, it is not.
They're talking about Bitcoin. Pay us
Yes.
in Bitcoin so it can't be traced. And I've heard stories of people having cash in a brown paper bag, meeting some kid at a
Oh,
McDonald's
no.
and passing it across. Yeah, I mean, it's really rough right now.
Oh.
And a lot of small businesses are not taking precautions.
No.
And just one instance like that, and they will be out of business. It's very scary.
Well, and that's the assumption. Oh, I'm so small. I'm a solopreneur. They'll never, what do they want with me? I don't have anything to give them.
Yeah, security by obscurity.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are trying to fly under the radar, and they're really just crossing their fingers that something's not going to happen. And so I think they don't really realize that there's some really inexpensive solutions that can really help them out.
When do you know the person who is calling you pitching this security is just kind of full of it? Or if they don't know their stuff?
When who's calling?
So if I call you,
Right.
say, hey, Wes, we're running some issues here.
Mhm.
I've never used this before. How do I know you're legit? For example, I had a conversation a couple of months ago with tradespeople
Mhm.
that if a painter comes to your house and they're like, yeah, we could do it right now. They'll tell you, okay, there's a problem because they're not busy.
Right.
And if they have no insurance to provide you with, what do you do? So how do I know on the phone somebody knows what they're talking about? They can help me.
very similar things to start off with. If somebody's got time for it right that minute, that's a little red flag.
Or, just had a customer cancel. Funny, I've got 1 o'clock.
I can come right now. Yeah, and really, lingo and acronyms are the IT world, right? So if
Okay.
somebody's just throwing acronyms at you all day long, that's a red flag for me too. If they can't speak to you on some kind of
Right.
dumbed down layman's terms to help you understand what they're doing, then I view that as a problem as well, because they may have some kind of solution for you, but you're never going to hear from them again.
Okay. I got
You have to be able to have a conversation with somebody.
Is there good stuff over the counter at Best Buy or all these places that you can buy, software you can buy?
The day you buy it, it could be very good stuff. But if it is not
Ah,
being maintained, updated, patched, then 2 months after you buy it,
okay.
technology has passed it by. And the bad guys, the hackers, they've already figured out how to beat it. And so everything having to do with security these days is maintaining, updating,
Mm.
firmware updates, security updates, and monitoring. You have to have somebody watching these things now.
My guess is your monitoring stations or your folks,
Mm-hmm.
you get something at midnight,
Mm-hmm.
something easy for you guys to fix. Client never knows it happened, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. That's the world you want to live in.
Yeah. And that happens all day long. Our fixes that our clients know about
Yeah.
is probably 10% of the fixes that we perform. Most of it happens behind the scenes that they never know. And in fact, that's almost a flaw in our business, because they don't know that we're actually fixing stuff. We've had to make some changes about when we fix something, send them a note,
Yes.
let them know, show them us doing high fives that we just beat Crypto Locker. So we've had to develop some policies there to make sure that they know we're working behind the scenes.
Yeah, because there's going to be that one business owner whose buddy knows your industry. He goes,
yeah.
well, what do you mean you haven't heard from them? Why are you paying them? And they may not know that or twice a week something happens.
Yes. Back when we first started doing managed services, we get people who go, well, I don't think we need your help anymore because our stuff's working flawlessly. And in reality,
Is that
it's
nothing?
because we're
Yeah.
working on it every damn day.
Yeah.
That's keeping it working
That's
flawlessly.
too funny.
So we've had to develop some policies and procedures around quarterly meetings and
Oh yeah.
and touch points and everything, just to let people know that
You
we
got it, yeah.
really are doing stuff.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff they don't want to know.
Oh no,
They don't.
Oh,
They,
no.
yeah, so,
They wouldn't sleep at night
No,
if
they would not.
they got some of that information.
So you and Bob McConnell started Lightwire.
Mhm.
It was just the two of you
Yeah.
first 6 months, first year?
I think first year
Okay.
it was just the two of us, and we were just running and ripping. We were working on cash basis pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is a long time ago now.
Did you guys just split up the work? This call come in, you take it,
Yeah.
Bob takes the next one?
Yeah, pretty much. If it
Okay.
was more computer related, he would take it. If it was more phone or structured cabling related, I'd take it. And we just kind of meet back at the end of the day and split our take, really. I mean, it was pretty much that simple. And then we got too busy.
Yeah.
We got really busy and we needed help. So we ended up hiring our first employee, which, in
who was
any
that?
business is you're sweating that one,
I'll
right?
scare the hell out of you, didn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, are we gonna be able to pay him?
Yeah.
And,
Who was your
Yeah.
first employee?
His name was Shane Richardson,
Mm.
and he's not with us anymore. He's moved on and worked with several other institutions, but he got great training with us, and he did exactly what we needed to in that time frame. And
Did he come in as a tech?
yeah, he came
Okay.
in as a very entry level tech. But 20 years ago, everything was pretty much
Yeah.
entry level.
So
And
who
it
answered the
worked.
phone? Did it roll to you or Bob?
Really, we would forward it to one or the
Yeah.
other of our cell phone to get
Yeah.
started. And I think our second employee was a part-time
Yes.
office administrator.
But you knew at that point in time you needed to consolidate. Hey, I don't have time to answer my phone every 2 minutes. Business is good, but I can't do it every 2 minutes.
Right. Right.
How many people are there today with you?
Right now we have 18 people.
All right.
Yeah. So the majority are engineers,
Okay.
and then a small admin staff and a small sales
All
staff.
right. Your world is very crowded.
Yes.
Very crowded. A lot of national people, a lot of local people.
Mhm.
When you stand up and do your 45-second elevator pitch in BNI, What separates you from them?
Really two things. What separates us is customer service. Like when you call, we actually answer the phone. I mean, it's almost unheard of these
Mhm.
days, but we answer the phone. And we have engineers who I have personally hired every single engineer, and they speak really good English and they're local, and you can talk to them and they'll ask you how your kids are. I mean, they're very personal guys, and so people like doing business with us. In fact, it's very hard for somebody to take one of our clients away because they know us on such an intimate level. They go, no, no, no. I know engineer Josh just had a new baby. I'm not leaving Lightwire. Those are
Nice.
my people.
Mm.
And so we try to create those personal business relationships, and it really works well for us.
Have you grown outside the triangle?
Yeah. Actually, we have, we're kind of international now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a client in Moscow, Johannesburg.
Oh, where do we start with that?
Yeah, hey,
Are you
it's a
helping with
small.
the election?
We're
Because now
just
Russia wants
maintaining the
Trump and Bernie to
computers.
win. So, yeah.
We're just making sure the computers are running well. Yeah.
Oh, that was too easy.
I set myself up for
Yeah,
that one.
and
Right?
where? So after, okay, Moscow, where else?
Johannesburg, South Africa, Poland.
How did they find you?
Most of the time, they'll have a main site here,
Okay.
and then a couple little small remote offices.
Like a campaign election headquarter, maybe?
Maybe your perspective. These are mostly medical research.
That makes
companies,
sense. Okay.
you
Very
know.
cool.
And so it's as long as they have an internet connection, we can support them.
Did you two ever dream you'd be 17 employees internationally?
No.
Did you think you'd make it past the first year?
Well, we were trading so much cash that first year, we thought for sure we were locked in. But to get where we've gotten now, I don't think any one of us had even hoped for it or
Yeah.
forecast that. We really didn't imagine it was going to go like that. But as much as technology has changed, it's hard to look out 10 years to see
Oh,
what you're going
yeah.
to. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everything is evolving, planned obsolescence. You've got to roll with the punches, and you can have a plan, but you better be damn sure ready to change it.
And we laugh about Snapchat and WhatsApp, and but there's 20 more of those at this time right now being developed. That
Absolutely.
two of them may in 6 months we may see one of them, and then tomorrow there'll be 20 more.
Oh yeah, I mean, thank goodness that I have young engineers who
Yes.
who just soak that in, and they
Yes.
love it.
Oh yeah.
They absolutely love it because I just turned 50, so I'm getting a little past my prime on learning every new technology that comes out.
And that's why I'm glad I have a almost 20-month-old grandson, because in a couple of years he'll be programming my phone any questions I have.
Oh yeah,
because he'll grow up with that. That's all he will know.
That's right.
Wes.
That's right.
All these kids that are 10 years and under, that's all they'll ever know.
Yeah, and
I've always had a phone.
they're great at it too.
Oh, I
They
know,
have
scary
they
thing.
have no fear,
Yes.
and I've noticed that as I get older, fear builds in. I'm scared to download WhatsApp
Yeah.
because I'm afraid I'm going to wreck my phone.
I'm with
Kids,
you.
no fear whatsoever. They just start
delete it and
pressing
move on,
buttons as quick as they can.
You are a proud father of 5.
Yes, sir.
How did you? I always ask everybody, how did you and your wife meet?
hmm
And you both tell the story the same way.
We actually tell it exactly the same way because
Okay.
it's not comical to some, but it's kind of comical to us. Our ex spouses introduced us to each other. Take that for what you will, but they put us on a soccer team together. My wife played semi-pro soccer. I've been playing since I was 4 years old, and we just started being on the field together, and that grew to playing a soccer game together and then having a beer afterwards,
Okay.
and then doing it 2 nights a week. And we actually did that for about 15 years of just being really good soccer buddies.
Really?
15 years. And then,
What took you so long? I hate to ask, but
well,
that's usually a little longer than most people take.
there was a time we were both very happily married to other people, and we had
Okay.
kids and families and all that. And then, not because of it, but on or about the same time, we just had things falling apart with our own individual families.
Yeah.
and there was no conspiracy, for it to happen. It just kind of did.
Yeah.
And then one day we were talking about, how crappy it is.
Mhm.
And I said, "Would you like to get a drink
Let's
sometime?"
be crappy together.
Yeah. And she said, "No." She said, "No, you're my soccer buddy."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, maybe just once."
Okay.
And I think the reality was she didn't want to go because she knew we got along so well
Yeah.
that it meant something else was coming,
Okay.
and after the third time I asked her, she said yes, and we immediately started dating.
Where was the
And
first date?
oh, at a little bar somewhere,
Okay.
a little tavern pub
All
type
right.
thing. That's just that's been our thing since that's how we met,
Okay.
was playing soccer and having a beer afterwards. That's just where we kind of gravitated towards.
A, did you dress different than you normally did? And B, did you feel like you had to wow her anyway?
This is the first time I'd ever seen her not in a ponytail. So yeah, it was completely different. I was like, wow, she's not sweaty.
Yeah.
And my face isn't red and
Yeah.
puffy from playing, and I'm
Yeah.
not out of breath. And
Too
so yeah,
funny.
we looked really classed up. It was pretty good.
Well, Wes has been on the Naked and Afraid show, and and I have a ton of questions behind the scenes stuff, but it is your wife that actually applied or had you apply the first time you saw that.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. We stumbled on the show. I'm an outdoor enthusiast, first
Yes.
of all. I mean, I
You're
love
an
the outside.
adrenaline junkie too, aren't you?
I'm kind of an adrenaline
Okay.
junkie, yeah. But I like outdoors, camping, hunting, fishing, hiking, anything to do with outdoors I like. And we stumbled on the show on the very first episode. And we were like, "Oh, what's this?" And so we watched it, and that became our Sunday night thing. So that's what we watched. And after a while, I started being real critical of people on the show. I'd say, "No, what are you doing? Stop that! You don't bring a bow drill to a Amazon rainforest. What?" And so I was armchair quarterbacking the show, and it was probably after 5 years of the show, we were having a couple drinks, watching the show, and I was bitching at the TV, and she said, "That's it. I've had enough. I'm getting my laptop out, and we're going to fill out an application for you to get on the show." And I said, "That'll be funny." And so we sat there for the next half hour, filled out the application, and submitted it, and didn't think another thing about
Oh,
it.
no.
No. And then 48 hours later, my phone rang, and it was Los Angeles calling. And I had this moment of, well, are they trying to sell me an extended car warranty, or is it Naked and Afraid? And it was Naked and Afraid. And so that started a year-long process of interviewing and more interviewing and paperwork out the wazoo. And then all of a sudden, I got the call that I was going to Brazil.
At any time, did you want that to stop and not be on the show?
No,
Once you got the phone call, you were all in?
I was all in from that first phone call. It was kind of amazing. It was like a fever that just kept slowly building up. And that first phone call is just basic. That's no guarantee. That's
Yeah.
just, we're just checking you out. Well, I knew deep down that I was going. On that phone call, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is actually going to happen."
Yeah.
And so from that phone call, I started going bare feet. I
I
started
read that,
training.
yes, yeah.
I mean, I started really honing my survival skills on that first call. And a year later, they called me up and said, "Okay,
And
it's
looking
time to go."
back on it, you needed that year, didn't you,
I really
to
did.
prepare?
I really did.
Because you can't leave today, shoes, regular clothes, eating, sleeping normally, and then they throw you out there in 72 hours.
No,
There's no way your body would do that, right?
no,
Okay.
no. It's too tough.
So Wes was on the show. The episode was titled "Stalked on the Savannah."
Mhm.
He was on there with Jesse Everett, a lady who you two literally met on site.
On camera.
Oh,
On camera.
oh, that's right. The first time
at
you
the
see each other
introduction.
is naked and Who's Afraid, right?
And that's absolutely accurate. You don't
Okay.
even get a glimpse. In fact, I had to wear blindfolds during the day or two prior to insertion because we were going to drive by each other. And they made us both blindfold up so we would not even get a glimpse of who the other person was.
You knew it was a female.
I had hoped it was a female.
Oh, so it's not always. Sometimes it's two guys or two girls.
Not anymore.
Okay.
They've changed it up. It's traditionally been one man, one woman.
Okay. And you knew nothing else of her? Well, you didn't even know she was okay. You were getting a
Nothing.
female partner.
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew absolutely nothing. So
All right. So you leave Raleigh, flew where?
Oh, well, of course, you got to stop in Atlanta for the customary
for the
layover,
layover.
and then to Brasilia.
Okay.
And then from there, a 4-hour ride into
Oh, Lord.
the bush.
Okay. What were you allowed to bring with you?
The premise of the show is you get to bring one survival item. Now they won't let you choose the same item.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to take that conflict, so you actually get to choose 3 or 4 items.
Okay.
And then once it hashes out, then you kind of hone it down to the one single thing that you want to bring.
What did you bring?
I ended up bringing climbing rope, which sounds very odd,
Okay.
but there's a lot of strands in a climbing rope, and so you can break that thing down.
Oh.
And I used it for making shelters, for making traps, for making a fish trap. Jesse borrowed it and made it for a fish trap. And there's also a little piece of cloth in there that makes real handy toilet paper.
Because at one point, I don't know which episode it was, she was like, yeah, our traps aren't really working. We're not catching anything.
No, they didn't work at all. No.
We'll get back to that in a minute. So the 2 episode, you were on one show or one survival outing turned into 2 episodes. So you had 21 days condensed to 84 minutes.
Yeah.
So we know we're going to see the drama and we're going to see the I'm done or I can't go past or somebody getting stung to death.
Right.
What didn't, so my couple questions are, you had a backpack or a
bag.
A bag. What's in the bag?
There's a wireless mic.
Okay.
So that's all that's in the bag, and you're just allowed to use it for putting your stuff in storage, any food that you find. You can use it for pretty much whatever you want, as long as it stays dry.
When they said action, what is literally on your person?
That bag.
And your rope.
The bag with my rope in it, and that's it.
And what did Jessie bring?
She brought a bow drill. It's essentially rubbing 2 sticks together to make fire.
Okay. All right. So I'll reuse that. Okay.
Yeah. And
wow.
And then they gave us a machete.
Okay.
So we had a blade, a rope, and a bow drill.
And they gave you a map on where the pickup point was.
Yeah.
Are you good at reading a map?
No.
Okay. Was Jessie?
Yeah, she was better than I was.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but it's pretty obvious, though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they have designated areas where they want you to set up a camp.
Okay.
And that's
because they've scoped all this out.
They have.
All right.
They've scoped out ahead of time.
Who else do we not see on camera? Production people who?
It's a very small staff.
Yeah.
It's 4 people at the most. So really, it's you got a camera person, a sound person, a backup camera person, and a producer.
What were they allowed to do or tell you?
Really not much of anything. They try to be part of the scenery as much as possible, which is really hard. You got a guy with a full camera following you around every move. But after a couple of days, you don't really notice anymore. It just kind of blends into the background. And so really, they were the most respectful people I've ever seen. They wouldn't wear deodorant or perfumes. They would never eat in front of you. They would never drink in front of you. I mean, they were fantastic people. In fact, I've become friends with them after the fact, and we talk quite frequently.
Well, good. We are here with Wes Harper, president of Lightwire, Inc., also a very, very popular guest on the show, Naked and Afraid, which we'll continue talking about. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech, where they help you reach your goals with proven technologies for increasing traffic, leads, and sales. Go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago we said hi. Speaking of technology, you're out there for 21 days. You know nothing of what's going on in the world.
Right.
In what time frame of 2019 was this?
It was filmed in actually 2018.
Oh.
And it was the month of April.
Okay, because you got a massive rainstorm that I saw. But you had no idea what's going on in the world. Did you have communication with anybody?
Zero. Absolutely nothing. No. The day
and this stuff turns you on, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Oh, it does. Which is incredible since I own a technology company, right?
Yeah.
So my passion of technology is great, but then when that's not in play, my passion of no technology is just as strong.
You and Jesse meet, they say go, you guys start out. I got to believe there's a ton of talking just between you two, getting to know each other, maybe putting a game plan together, talking strengths and weaknesses maybe.
There is, but you're up against the gun the entire time. Like, we met, and as we were meeting, there were thunder clouds coming over, and you could tell a big storm was coming, and we were just sitting there with nothing. And so you don't have time to just, be social. Hey, how you doing? This kind of stuff. You get the first 5 minutes over with, and you
Oh,
go, hey, we got to get cracking here because it's about to dump rain on us, and it's only about 60 degrees. We're gonna
that
freeze
was
to
my
death.
next question. Temperature wise, what'd you guys have to live through?
It got down in the high 40s at night,
Oh,
and then the days got up pretty brutally hot. I mean, it was in the hundreds,
yeah.
low hundreds, I would
I
say.
know towards the end of the second show, you just ditched the hat when you guys were walking through the forest.
I
You're
couldn't
like,
say. I was so irritated with it. It just wasn't worth it
are you by
anymore.
then? I don't care what happens. I'm just not wearing this stupid hat again.
Pretty much.
What are you putting on your body for sun, mosquito bites, all the elements?
Well,
I mean,
mud,
mud.
mud if you can find it,
Okay.
clay if you can find it. I got a little 2 minute thing on there where I tried peeing on my
Yep. I
foot
saw that.
and
Yep.
rubbing that in to see if the ammonia would keep the mosquitoes off.
Yep.
It did not. So you do whatever you can, but really at the end of the day, you just don't have much to put on. And mud, you can put that on, but as soon
Yep.
as it dries, it
It's,
flakes off. And so you're just at the mercy.
did you get some serious sunburn?
Oh, I got terribly sunburned.
Or is there a medical staff with you?
They're not with you, but they're a certain number of miles off,
Okay.
so that if there is an emergency,
Yeah.
they can get to you.
Did you feel like you needed to call at any point in time?
No,
So the sunburn was
no.
bad, but you could,
I've had sunburn before.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Okay.
one of those things. It was bad. I mean, it was bad enough that it was bleeding, but I'm not gonna call for help on that. It's
Yeah.
you know. So no,
And you got a nice full round dome there that I know. How long did it take you to find a hat
oh
or make
man,
something out of a hat?
it took me a few days to kind of put that hat together. But there's no comfort.
No,
I mean,
there's
put a
not.
bamboo hat on your head.
Yeah.
That thing feels terrible.
Yeah.
You almost would prefer the sunburn than the constant scratching on your head.
When did you first have to use the rope?
First hour we were there. Yeah, because we had to put up a shelter immediately because of the
The
storm
rain.
was
Okay.
coming.
Yeah.
And so we cut up that rope and started lashing things together immediately.
And I think the storm I saw or that I remember was in the second episode
hmm
where she dug a ditch or a canal to keep the water from running.
Yeah,
Yeah. And basically keep the water from flooding you guys out of the
absolutely.
the nice home you built.
Yeah, for being where we were, you would have never thought that it would be flash floody. I mean, we were up
Yeah.
and it was torrential rains, and there was a foot stream like right at the base of our shelter, out of nowhere. So yeah, it was amazing.
When did you know where you were going?
About 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
about
right.
when you get your plane tickets, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, here we go. And so you do as much research as possible the second that comes in.
How much distance could you cover in a day, and how shorter did those days get as you got towards the end?
Yeah. First day we didn't have to walk that far, but then we broke from one camp to the next camp, and it was about an 8 hour walk. It was so absolutely brutal. We had no clue it was going to take that long, and it was awful. And so by the time we got there and got ourselves settled just a little bit, we were out of energy,
Oh yeah.
and then pretty much never got it back to that level again. It's a constant slide
Yeah.
of energy. And unless you get really some big food sources, you never quite get it back.
What was the best food you ate?
I managed to kill a rattlesnake,
Saw that. Yep.
and that was delightful.
Okay.
But remember, it all depends on how hungry you are.
Oh,
too.
exactly.
Hungrier you are, the better it tastes. But it was fantastic.
What interested me the most, and again, most of the stuff I remember, I think where it was in the second episode, you cooked a scorpion and grub worm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no way you had done that before. How did you know I could cook a scorpion?
I've got this. You look up different things you can eat, and I have this philosophy that if it can crawl,
Yeah.
I can cook it and I can eat it. There's very
Yeah.
few exceptions really to that rule. Like a millipede, you can't eat a millipede. That'll be poison for you. So don't eat a millipede. But other than that,
I don't think most people know that.
if it moved, wiggled, it went on a hot rock, and I end up eating it. That's one thing you didn't see is we ate every single day. Might not have been much, but we ate some
Yeah.
kind of beetles, larvae, termites, little fruits every single day.
Could you find enough water to drink?
On that one, after we finally located the water, there was plenty.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of a hike, but you just 4 times a day went down to the water source.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many times during a day would you just have to stop for rest or find some shade or something like that before you made camp?
Yeah, we didn't stop. We really didn't. We were go, go, go most of the time.
Yeah.
And that would, I had the resulting weight loss of 37 pounds
Yes. Yep.
in 21 days. And that was a function of just go, 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 go. Hindsight, I probably should have taken it easy a little more, rested a little bit more, but that makes for
Yeah.
a slow day.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a resting kind of
Did
guy.
they give you a window you had to be at the pickup point?
Not too much.
Okay.
They say be there this day, and you can't leave until this day.
Oh, okay.
You can't go early and just hang out, wait for your plane to come in.
Yeah.
You got to survive for those many days and then make the trek.
But if you had gotten to the pickup point a day early,
Hmm.
would they'd have been fine with that, or a day late?
I think they would have been fine with a day late,
Yeah.
but I don't think they would have been happy with a day early.
Less content. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Your quote on this was, "It's the most miserable and wonderful thing I've done at the same time."
I stand by that. I stand by that. Yeah, I mean it's terrible. It's suffering the whole time. From the first 2 minutes, you get cut and you
Yeah.
start bleeding,
Yeah.
and your feet are getting shredded,
Oh, yeah.
and then you get stung and horseflies and gnats in your. Yeah, it's awful. And at
Yet
the
you say that with a
s-
smile. You're smiling this whole time.
I absolutely love it. I don't know if you just get addicted to the misery
Yeah.
and the suffering. I'm not sure, but yeah, I love it.
What was Jesse's hook to the show?
She was like emotional. I was pretty stoic on the show.
No, I meant why
Oh.
did she want to be on the show?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, you were you're the
She
tough guy. You're like,
on this one I
yeah.
was, yeah. Um, she
Oh,
she
wait,
was
hang on a sec. On this one you were. Interesting. We'll get back to that.
all right.
So why did she want to be on the show?
She wanted an adventure. I really felt.
But Naked and Afraid, that's
I
the ultimate
know.
adventure with somebody I don't know.
Yeah, it is. But she was looking for kind of just an experience, and I think it was just a one-time shot for her.
Okay.
She wanted to do this thing, and it happened to be Naked and Afraid. She was an outdoor person too,
Yeah.
an outdoor survival guide, and a hiker and all that. So it had some natural appeal to her for that, but she just wanted to do this
Yeah.
thing.
Well, that's, yeah.
Yep.
Looking back on it now,
Mhm.
were you two a good pairing, and did the show put you together for any particular reason?
I absolutely think that yes, that we were together for a reason,
Yeah.
and I think that's because she was only 28.
Yeah.
And I was 48 at that time. But with my 5 kids, I'm very nurturing, and supportive. And they had her, and she was very emotional.
Mm.
I don't mean that in a bad way. She just was.
Mm.
And so they kind of paired us as I was the older fatherly type, and she was
Yeah.
almost a daughter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's
The
really
math says
kind
it
of
could
how
have
it's
been.
set
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think that was totally on purpose that it was set up that way.
And before I even read about the episode, I was on Jesse's site
Mhm.
as I was prepping for the show. I knew, having watched enough reality TV shows, because you got to insert some drama, whether it's there or
yeah.
not. They showed some jaguars. They probably weren't
Yeah.
even close to you, were they?
Oh yes, they actually were.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's one that they try to make it a cliffhanger because it was a 2-part,
Yep.
and we actually did have a jaguar come. It couldn't have been 50 feet.
Oh.
And so you see it on camera. You see both my head, Jesse, and the jaguar all
Yeah.
in the same shot. So yeah, that was absolutely accurate.
Did that jaguar even know you were there?
He skidded out after he saw us.
Okay.
So he didn't know we were there
All right.
until he caught sight of us, and then he lit out. But we had tracks all over.
Yeah.
Close to our shelter. I mean, they were there constantly. We didn't see them, but they were there.
Are they an aggressive animal?
I don't think by nature they are. I think it's more of you're in their territory and they're checking you out. And if you've surprised one, I think it would
Mm.
be pretty upset with you.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like they're out to get you. I don't think I'm their main food source.
At some point in time, did you think, why did I even apply for this? Or I'll show my wife when I get home. We are never doing that again.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I will say that when I was done, I was done.
I sense that. Yes.
And I told everybody. They're like, "Well, what do you think about doing another one, Wes?" And I said, "Heck no, that's it, one and done for me. This was good, good. Stick a fork in me, done."
Those last 2 miles walking through that forest or whatever the
Yeah,
terminology was, that just looked brutal. And it looked brutal, because it was, but
hmm
it was your last couple of days. And that just had
yes,
to be the worst thing to walk through at that point in time, right?
it really was. It was terrible. It was solely willpower.
Yeah.
You didn't have any calories left. You didn't have any energy left. It was just really willpower to make those feet go a little bit farther. So yeah, it was
Man,
it was rough. I swore I'd never do another one. And then about a week later, I was like,
it
I
took you a
have
week, right?
I have fond memories of being out there. Yeah.
So you had to keep a secret for almost a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was 16 months between doing the show and having it air.
How many opportunities did you have where people wanted to ask you, that were asking you questions
Well,
about the show?
well, I'm not the best secret keeper. I mean, and I have
Mm,
5 kids, so they all knew, my wife knew.
yeah,
And, if they tell one or two people, then
yeah,
all of a sudden they tell one or two people.
yeah.
I have some very close friends, and, they knew. It was just really on a
Well,
hush hush
well, yeah,
basis.
because you're gone from your business for at least 3 weeks, maybe four, right?
A month.
Yeah.
Yeah, really a month.
So it's like, where's Wes all of a
Yeah.
sudden?
And so, you
I
know,
saw his kids the other day.
they knew.
Did they split?
Yeah,
Right? I'm
right.
sure you probably got
And
somebody like,
all
wait,
my neighbors, they see me walking in the neighborhood barefoot,
yeah,
and they go, "What in the world's wrong with him? What's he doing?"
dumbass.
But
There's always one in the
for a
neighborhood,
year,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly, right. But I talked about that damn show for a year,
Yeah.
if not 5 years. They're like, "Something going on here, Wes?"
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
"I don't know, maybe."
You so at what point in time did they tell you when the episode was going to air?
About a month before.
All right. And you scheduled a watch party.
Yeah, yeah,
How cool was that? But the emotions, because that's the first time you had seen that.
that's correct.
All
That's
right. So
correct.
what was that like for you watching yourself on a show?
It was blowing my mind, and I was crossing my fingers the whole time that it came out that I was a decent person.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it did.
always
It
scary,
really did. Yeah.
'cause you go through every emotion that you have every day 10 times. You're a jerk for a minute a day. You're sad for a minute. You run
Yeah.
the whole gamut, and so you just hope you stack up enough of those good moments that it kind of overshadows the bad moments. You know, 'Cause
Were you kind of impressed with what you did after you saw the show?
I think
I mean,
they
just a moment to yourself?
for a moment,
Yeah,
yes,
you
I
should
really
have.
was. I was like, "Wow, man, you
Yeah.
did it!" And so yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out, and having 100 people there watching with me,
Yeah.
and they were cheersing every time my butt got
Yeah. Oh,
across
yeah.
the
Yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
and
You heard enough of that,
oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it was a fun event. It really was.
So you get to the pickup point.
hmm
You're finally rescued. Where do you go from there, and how many days later do you fly out?
From there, there's
Because you're dead in the back of that Jeep, dude. You are
oh
done.
yeah, absolutely. They got a couple more little interviews they do with you.
Okay.
Just wrap up type interviews. And then they take you to the survival lodge, which is, I don't know, maybe an hour away.
Okay.
And then they hand you a bar of soap and a washcloth and anything you could possibly want to eat. And then the next day you're on a plane going home.
What we don't see and what we can't appreciate, and you mentioned this earlier,
Mhm.
just the cuts.
Mhm.
Walking through, you just a little cut here, cut here, cut here, and you're just bleeding not all over the place, but you just got open cuts, right?
Constantly.
I can't imagine how enjoyable that first shower was with soap.
You were so desperate for a shower at that point, and you were so used to things stinging
Yeah.
and
Oh,
hurting.
okay.
It didn't matter
Yeah.
anymore. You were just grateful to scrub the black off of and to get that dirt out. Yeah, you were just grateful for fresh water.
Your first meal, once
Mhm,
you got out, either before or after the shower, your first meal, how
mhm.
much did you want to eat and what did they have for you?
Well, since I am a beer drinker, they knew that I really would like a beer when I was done.
All right.
And so they made sure they had a little cooler set aside for me so I could have a couple beers. And then they had this massive barbecue.
Ooh,
And any kind of meat protein you want
yeah,
and all kinds of vegetables. And then they had mixed nuts. They had a
yeah,
big bowl of mixed nuts,
yeah,
and I couldn't eat enough of those.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
handful.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I was grateful for all of that.
The flight back to Atlanta. So Brasilia to Atlanta.
Hmm.
How long was that flight?
Maybe 5 6
That
hours.
kind of had to be uncomfortable because your body is readjusting
I was
to.
so grateful to sit in a chair that if I went on an airplane tomorrow, I'd complain about how uncomfortable the
Yeah,
chair is.
yeah.
Oh, not that day. That was the most comfy chair I ever sat on. I was so grateful to be in a climate controlled environment
Oh
in a
God.
chair. Oh no, it was great. And then my mind was just going reliving memories
Yeah,
and moments.
yeah.
That was the quickest 5 hour trip I ever had.
How long did it take you to put the 37 pounds back on?
It only takes like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Your body wants to store those pounds back on,
Mm.
and everything you eat or drink sticks right to your ribs. I'm telling you, 3 weeks, and I weighed more than when I went in.
Yeah. Oh, that's to be expected.
Ugh.
During the show, during not the show, but during the 21 days,
Mhm.
they obviously stop you a bunch. They want you to talk to the camera.
Right.
Is that scripted? Is it based on how the day has gone?
Just based on how the day has gone.
Okay.
They just want your perspective on certain things.
Okay.
And if there's a something, some unresolved issue, or they see some angst that you're
Yeah.
having with your partner,
Oh yeah.
they'll ask you about it. And that gives you an opportunity to either expand on that
Yeah.
or just put it to rest.
My favorite scene in the whole show was late. And Jesse, you guys were making camp,
Mhm.
and Jesse saw a massive beehive. And you guys had to talk through the risk reward.
Yeah.
Ton of bees, they're not going to be happy, but that honey was priceless.
Yeah.
And you both stated perfectly why you were or were not going to do that. You wanted, at that point in time, you're like, you know what, not worth it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she respected that.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I gotta go. And you respected that.
Yeah.
Love that scene. How long did you guys talk about it? Were you ever interested in getting it?
It was a topic of conversation maybe for 2 weeks, really, because that beehive was ever prevalent. I mean, it was right there. And so we see it all the time. We got stung by it all the time.
Wait, well, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
You're not going from point A to point B. Are you going around places? So you saw that beehive a bunch?
Oh, when you make your shelter, your camp,
Yeah.
you stay there for a good portion of it. Like we stayed in the same camp for probably 19 days, 18 days.
Oh, I never got, okay.
Yeah. So we constantly, we'd go down the water, we'd see the hive. Come back, you see the
Okay.
hive. And so your brain is working on it going, honey, should we? Shouldn't we?
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it? Do we
Yeah.
talk about it now? Maybe later? And so for about 2 weeks, we had conversations about it. And then what you see is when we came to the
Yeah.
decisive moment of putting your foot down to do it
Yeah.
and to not do it.
And it was very impressive how
Mhm.
she got that honey.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was well worth it. And she shared with you. And that's what I was waiting for the payoff on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
I'm sure others have not. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
fine, you didn't want to
Right.
go with me. This is all mine. But she was nice.
Yeah.
But it was a great story on what somebody's willing to do because you're so hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have no idea what you're willing to do until you're that hungry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And you have
Oh, yeah.
reckless abandon most of the time. When I killed that rattlesnake,
Yeah.
I mean, I was down in there with it. And you saw just a little clip of it.
Yep.
I mean, I was down in there with that rattlesnake.
How long did that take?
Well, there were actually 2 rattlesnakes. The first one I got pretty easy. The second one I was going after, he was under the rock.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really hairy. I could have got bit very easily. But you don't think about that at the
No,
time.
you're
You're just hungry. You're starving, and it's complete reckless abandon.
Okay, let's go back to the campsite. That's news to me right there. I
Okay.
probably should have gotten that earlier. How far was the actual journey then?
Oh, miles and miles and miles. Like probably 8 to 10 miles of walking to our second camp. Our first camp was really only a mile, so
Okay.
that's nothing.
All right.
But then from there to our second camp, which we did on day 2,
Yeah.
that was 8 to 10 miles away.
But you stayed on that camp
Stayed on that camp for 18 days.
so at that point in time, you're just going out for survival, for food and
Yes.
water
Yeah.
and coming back. So how far from that campsite to the pickup point when the Jeep got you?
4 or 5 miles,
Okay.
4 or 5
But
additional
nasty
miles.
walk. Okay.
Oh, terrible. It's
Okay.
terrible. Yeah. So we stayed in that one. We made that little camp our home.
So at no point did you want that honey?
No.
At even day 3 or day 20, it didn't.
Nope. I've been stung so many times that I just don't have an interest in that.
Yeah.
And I was like I said, I was eating every day, so I was going to make it. It would have been a little bit harder, and I would
Okay.
add a little bit. I was going to make it, so I was like, that's just not worth my risk of just getting stung up. I just don't want that.
Did you find, obviously you found stuff to snack on that never made air.
Right.
What kind of stuff did you guys find to eat?
Oh, lots of termites and ant larvae
I
and
saw that.
the scorpion,
Yeah.
grub worm. We also found these little tiny fruits.
Okay.
And so I would go out every single morning and collect 5 little fruits.
And
we'd
that was
split 'em up.
heaven, wasn't it?
It
5.
was. Yeah, 5 little tiny fruits,
Did you space out eating them, or did you wolf them all down at once? Your half.
We spaced them out.
Okay.
You really tried to just kind of
Yeah.
make it last.
The other one I thought was interesting was down by the water. She found the fish eggs.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
good were those?
They had no taste whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
But plenty of protein, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
They had a lot of sodium in them.
Okay. Oh, so that was it.
It's
Yeah.
really helpful
Yeah.
on your body. So we ate more fish eggs than you saw there, that's for sure. We were
Okay.
slurping those things up after a while. So, I mean, we ate a wide variety of stuff.
Okay.
It's just not in quantity,
Huh.
you know? I'd done research. That was some of my internet research
Okay.
on the area, and I just kind of committed to memory that fruit if I happened to see one. And then all of a sudden they were relatively prevalent.
So an outdoor guy
Mm.
who's willing to do just about anything and a kind of an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. My guess is with you, you won't not answer a call.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Is there a show of like these that are out there? Is there one, and I don't even know if you're going to be on one. I don't really care if you are. Is there another one that would interest you? One of these survive? What did you ever think about wanting to do Survivor, going around the world with somebody?
I really didn't.
Okay.
I'm not a reality TV guy. I just happened to be on this one reality TV show. But yeah, Survivor, doing a competition so you can win a 12-pack of Bud Light. That's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it to test myself.
You'd rather go down to Food Line and buy it, the 12-pack.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Yeah. So no, really, this is the only show that's ever caught my attention that I have been wanting to be a part of.
As I do more of these shows and we get into stories, which is my favorite part of this show, is just hearing everybody's stories. There's always a moment in time that a decision is made, and you don't know it sometimes until you look afterwards. If your wife doesn't pull out her laptop, you're not on the show, are you?
No.
Because you wouldn't have done it on your own.
I would not have done. Not at all. If it wasn't for that just happenstance moment of us just having fun. And
she was calling your bluff.
Yeah. I was talking smack, and she was calling me out on it. And if it wasn't for that, then I would have never been on the show at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I always tell her that it's her fault that I got on the show.
Yeah.
Well, that lasted about 2 times. And then she said, I'm not putting up with that anymore.
What was in your application that made them call you, do you think?
I think it was kind of a well-rounded combo. They could see the adrenaline junkie part of me. I've done running forever and marathons, half marathons. I did the Raleigh half Ironman.
Okay.
I was looking for the next thing.
Well, hell, you got 5 kids. That qualifies as something too, right?
Well, on my interview process, I said, hell, 21 days, I could use the vacation.
Yes.
I said, you want a challenge? Try living my life.
Little did you know they took you up on it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny. And have you talked about still being in touch with some of the production people?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesse,
absolutely.
have you guys talked much?
We text back and forth occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. We had our time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we'll check on each other occasionally,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much about it.
Do you still watch the show?
Every week.
Do you really?
Every week.
And
I'm tired this morning because I was up late watching it last night.
And nobody compares to you. They didn't have it as hard as you, right? Are you the old guy? Get off my lawn. I don't want to hear about this.
A combination. No, I look at it now And I actually think it's so much worse. Like, I know it was bad when I was there living it, but when time goes by,
Yeah.
you forget the bad stuff.
Oh, it's like pregnancy. It's why women keep having babies.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
go, oh, it wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Well, damn sure was.
Yeah.
It was real bad. And when I watch the shows that are current, I go, oh no, they're just getting tore up by the bugs. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I was the same way,
Yeah.
but you kind of downplay the bad and just kind of remember the good
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's what makes you want to go back.
That's why women keep having kids, is they're like, oh, I love my bundle of joy.
Yeah.
And they forget about the labor pains.
Yeah.
They may or may not.
What-
Women, let me state
Yeah.
this. You may or may not. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but
Good disclaimer.
I've had moms tell me after a while that
Mhm.
you forget about that. You want to have them till the next one. And then, So
Right.
looking back on the show, when you first saw the show and probably
Uh-huh.
the first couple weeks after the show, were you looking back thinking, oh, I should have noticed that or done that different? Was it worth it to even think back of?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight, you can probably always come up with something.
Yeah.
But honestly, mine turned out so well.
Yeah.
They portrayed me in a really good
They
light.
did. Yep, they did.
I have no complaints. I don't really think I'd wish for anything to go different to have that match up with what I saw on TV.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to turn of any event that happened there, especially from what I saw.
We know somebody watching this show or listening
Mhm.
is thinking, oh, I would want to do that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
I get that all the time. I get people going, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that. And so my one piece of advice, first of all, is no, don't. But two,
Really?
it's terrible.
No, I get that, but you would tell them no. You've been smiling for an hour about the misery you have gone through.
Most people cannot do it. They
I
don't
agree with that.
realize the level of
Yes.
suffering. So I offer to people who think they want to do it. I say, okay, well, I want you to not eat anything for 3 days and only drink water. If you can do that,
Oh,
just 3 days,
okay.
don't eat anything, just
Alright.
drink water. If you can make it for 3 full days, come back and talk to me. And I know people in the system now. I can help maybe smooth your application.
That's a good one.
Not
And
a single person.
no.
Not a single person.
No. Or the other thing you tell them is, from Friday morning till Sunday night, no shoes. And here's
Sure.
what you got to go do.
Oh, yeah.
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 Got to go play in a softball game.
Right.
Got to walk through the neighborhood and rain, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. It's
What did you miss the most?
when I was in Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed my wife and kids.
Well, that's a given.
100%,
Yeah. But just the survival part of shoes, clothing, water, anything like that. I would expect you to say the kids and wife. That's why I didn't ask you
Right.
that. Yeah.
I missed a cup because we were drinking out of a stream, and so you're bare assing it with your head down in the stream every time to drink. And I just really craved a cup where I could actually lift water to me. It was a
Really?
weird thing, but no coconuts. I mean, we just didn't have something to hold water. And so I really missed that. And I was never so grateful just to drink out of a bottle or a cup once I got back. That was one of those little things that you would never
Yeah.
expect.
They probably had no idea on the airplane, A, what you'd gone through, but why you were
Yeah.
so happy drinking water and eating peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Where is plastic pollution when we lose?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right.
Were you able, going back to the production people, did you guys chat with them as you're walking? Any casual conversation, or they just kind of want you and Jesse to talk?
There was a minor amount of it.
Okay.
But they really didn't want you to talk
Yeah.
to them. They want you to interact with your partner.
And is that what those folks do for a living?
Yeah.
Wow. I
Production?
bet they've been to some cool places.
Oh, they have.
Where do they
Oh.
sleep at night?
They pack all their stuff up and they go to wherever their little lodge is and shower and eat and sleep in
Lazy
bed.
cheeks, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they go
So
back. and then
overnight, is anybody with you guys?
No. Nobody's with you overnight.
Oh, so if something happened there, you're literally on your own.
You are. You're in real trouble at night if something happens.
I should ask that question earlier.
And you know
Okay.
what? And it's funny because that's when everything happens.
Yeah. Oh, it
It
does.
is
Yeah.
when everything happens. That's
Yeah.
when the little arguments and fights happen.
Yeah.
That's when the wild animals come out at night and lurk around. Everything happens when the camera people aren't there.
Yeah.
And that's when you have your diary cams where you're self-recording
Yes. Saw that. Yeah.
everything that goes on
Yeah.
except for a few infrared cameras. So I mean, yeah, nights are strange.
what's the longest window of time you and Jesse had just gotten on each other's last nerves and didn't talk?
I don't think for more than maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
And it's just like being an old married couple when you're out there.
Yeah.
You grate on somebody's nerves.
But you had to have each other
Yeah,
to literally survive.
you did.
It's yeah.
And so we would just separate for a little bit. We'd kind of work it out and,
Yeah.
kick the ground. Oh, shucks. And then we'd get back together and we'd figure out how to make it work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your wife had and has no desire to be on the show.
No,
Could she?
she probably could.
She's feisty enough to
She's
Ring the
feisty
bell.
enough
Yep. Start
to
the
go. I
challenge.
don't know if she would make it because she doesn't have the she currently doesn't have the skill set because she's a weekend camper.
Okay.
She hadn't done a lot of stuff, but if she got the opportunity and actually said yes,
Yeah.
we'd get her there.
Nice.
Yeah, we'd get her there.
So she's the weekend camper, and by roughing it, it's just there's no electricity, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Where obviously you'll rank husband, father,
Yeah.
Business owner, you employed people, did wonderful things, all that. You're a good dude. Where do you rank this in the things? If you talk about me, say these.
Yeah. Right now, it's still so prevalent. I mean, it's so present right now that
Yeah.
it ranks up higher than it should. Just because it just happened.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool.
It is
kind of impressive.
Yeah, it really is. Right now, it's in the top 3.
Okay.
But as more time goes on, it's going to slip down the scale a little bit because I'm most proud of the other stuff.
Oh, and obviously,
this was a super cool thing that just nobody gets to do.
Yeah.
And so it still lives in my recent memory. And I love talking about it.
Yeah.
But when 5 years goes by and 10 years goes by, I'm going to be most proud of the other things.
Oh,
And I have this fun story for you.
Was this more just for you to see if you could do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was totally a selfish event.
Hey,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
I wanted to see if I could do it.
Your obituary, when hopefully this is years down the road. Wesley?
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Frank Wesley.
Frank Wesley Harper, comma, former star of Naked and Afraid, comma, passed yesterday at the age of whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like with Tom Brady. They always have to say 42-year-old
Right.
Tom
Oh,
Brady.
yeah.
And he could have thrown 12 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
42 years old.
Yeah.
Wes Harper, comma, star of
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we'll just leave it as you'll take a phone call.
Oh, with regard to maybe things down the road?
Yeah.
Let's just say there are things down the road.
All right. We like that. And
Can't really talk about them, but this is not the last time you're going to see me.
outstanding. So if you want to keep up with Wes, do 2 things. Call his company, Lightwire, get him to take good care of your business, or if somebody you know has a business. And second of all, about every 90 days, just Google Wes Harper and see what comes up. But I was very much looking forward to this show because he's a good interview anyways. But just, I want to know all the behind the scenes stuff. And so you literally had nothing.
Nothing.
Literally.
Yes.
Okay. And figuratively.
Absolutely accurate. Nothing.
Very impressive. Very impressive. You should be pleased that you completed that. Wherever it ranks at the end of the day, every now and then you should have your humble brag moments of, yeah, that's pretty good.
I do. And, I still wear my necklace.
Do you really?
I do. It's a constant reminder for me. And it's just like a little trophy you get. And I still
you
wear it.
should.
Why not?
You should. No, you earned that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing, it was a really long weekend. No, this was 21 days. Anyways, wonderful having you on the show. Love hearing the stories. Good luck with Lightwire. Anybody that owns a business, you got to call Wes if you do anything just to protect your stuff from all the bad people out there. And they are, just read the news. But they're out there looking for $500 or $50,000 from you. So if you do nothing, even if you have everything in place, call Wes for the security of it. And we appreciate it. Good luck with however many phone calls you receive and respond to over the next however long time we have.
Thank you, Mike.
But we've enjoyed having you on the show, and we'll see you next week on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.